Hey YouTube, this is Pokedad, and today I've got a different deck analysis for you. Today we're looking at the Fairy Toolbox, where we use Aromatisse and Fairy Transfer to move all the energies around. But before I get into it, I know I've alluded to a subscriber Ancient Origins giveaway, and so I want you to be on the lookout, because as soon as I get done recording this video, I'll be recording the contest rules for that. I'll have that video up. That contest is going to end on August 12th, which is the release date of Ancient Origins, and it gives you an opportunity to win booster packs and a Hoopa EX. So go check that video out. It'll be in the description also. Anyway, let's get back to the deck profile. I'm going to just try to go through this quickly. So Aromatisse is one of the staples of a fairy deck, and has the fairy transfer ability, which basically allows you to move fairy energies as many times as you want to any of your Pokemon. So basically, Aromatisse is a staple in this deck, because what we're going to do, it's a toolbox in that we have all sorts of Pokemon, and we try to exploit our opponent's weakness. So with that, let's talk about all the Pokemon, because there are a lot of them. We start off with Shaman, and Shaman is not really an attacker, though if we ever do need to Sky Return, we can. But Shaman is here for the setup ability, which allows us to draw our hand back up to 6. So that's why we have Shaman. We use Darkrai, and Darkrai EX is a dark type. He has Night Spear, which can hit for 90 and then hit to the bench for 30. So we play Rainbow Energies. Let me just introduce those to you real quick. So these count as any type of energy, including Fairy, but they can then play as Dark or any type you want them to be. So we can transfer them around with Aromatisse like Fairy energies, but then when we attach them to Darkrai, he can use Night Spear, and if we have 2 of these and just a normal Fairy energy, we can use Night Spear for 90, and then it also does 30 damage to the opponent's benched Pokemon. So we play 2 Darkrai, not so much for the attack, but for his ability Dark Cloak. Each of your Pokemon that has a dark energy attached to it has no retreat cost. So again, the Rainbow Energy, since it can be a dark type, you can move that as a Fairy energy to any of your Pokemon, and then they get free retreat because of Darkrai. So Darkrai and Aromatisse are like the staple supporters in this deck. Now let's move on to some of our attackers. So Malamar is not so much an attacker also, though his Malamar attack is 60 times the number of energy attached to him. So again, we can use Fairy Transfer, do a Rainbow Energy and a Fairy Energy, and then we can use Maximar, which does 60. For every energy that's on him, we flip a coin, and it does 60 times the number of heads. But the big reason we want to use Malamar is for his Hyper Hypnosis. Whenever we attach any energy to Malamar, it automatically puts our opponent's Pokemon to sleep. And so then after we attach it, we can use Fairy Transfer to transfer it somewhere else. So we can always be getting the added advantage of putting our opponent to sleep and then transferring the energy where we need it. So that's what Malamar EX does for us. Alright, the first main attacker is Yveltal EX. He's a dark type. He's good against those that are weak against dark, which are like most of your ghost type psychics, I think, which are like Gengar EX, Trevenant, let's see, Chandelure, those Pumpkaboos, Gourgeist, those are the type that Yveltal really works well with. Of course, even without that, though, he has a great attack, Evil Ball. It does 20 damage plus 20 for every energy that you have on you and every energy that's on your opponent. So if you have 2 energies on Yveltal, and then your opponent has 2 energies on them, you're gonna hit for 100. And if it's like a Gengar EX, that would be 200, and you knock out Gengar just like that. We also have Y Cyclone, which, well, we don't use as often as Evil Ball, but it can still be useful because for just fairy energy, or I should say a rainbow energy, and a double colorless, we can hit for 90, and then we can move that double colorless to somewhere else where we can use it more effectively. So that could be used in some cases. All right, the next attacker we have two Spritzies and we play two Aromatisse, and then the next attacker we have is Xerneas. Now, unlike most fairy decks where Xerneas uses its Geomancy ability, we're not going to be using that very much, if at all, because we're only playing one Xerneas, and the whole reason he's in here is for Rainbow Spear, because if you attach a Rainbow Spear and a Muscle Band, you can one-shot Mega Rayquaza Dragon type, and it should take out most Dragon types that are weak to Fairy. So Xerneas is in here just to help us with the Dragons. So that's what he's here for. Landorus EX, let me just tell you before I use Landorus EX is probably going to rotate, and also you may not have him because he is pretty expensive, but if you don't have him, you can substitute him. You could use a Lucario, though I think a Hawlucha EX, yes, I said it, Hawlucha EX could work here. But if you don't have a Hawlucha EX, then you can still substitute for Hawlucha. Just the regular one that hits for 60 for 1 energy. Attach a Muscle Band, it's hitting for 80. And the matchup we want to try to exploit with Landorus is against electric and lightning type. So Manectric, Mega Manectric, that's what we want to try to hit Landorus. With Hammerhead, we can hit 30 to the active and 30 to the bench. Throw a Muscle Band on, and we can hit 50 to the active and 30 to the bench. But if we're going against Mega Manectric or Manectric, we can hit for 100 for just 1 energy, and that's two-shotting that Manectric. We can also use Land's Judgment if we need to, and knock out Manectric or Mega Manectric if we have, well, at least Manectric. We could discard all the energies, and then we can also knock out Mega Manectric, but since they're going to be rainbow energies and you only have 4 of them, they're very precious, so we probably wouldn't discard the energies, but that is an option if we need it. The next one is Regirock, and he's also a fighting type, but he's not here for his attack. He's here for Omega Barrier, so we can put energies on him and then transfer them off later as we need it. So this will protect us from getting enhanced hammered from crushing hammers, and they can't Lysander him up and attack him. So he just sits on the bench, holds our energy safely until we need them. The next one is Charizard EX. We use this version of the Charizard EX and not the one with Stoke. The reason for that is if we run into Aegislash, we can put a Muscle Band on Charizard, and well, actually we don't even need a Muscle Band. We can just use 3 Fairy energies, because if we use Rainbow energies, it won't hurt Aegislash. So we just use 3 colorless energies, in this case Fairy energies, use Wing Attack, and we hit Aegislash EX for 120 because he's weak to fire. And Charizard's in here to help us with our grass matchups, Virizion, Genesect. When Mega Sceptile comes out, he'll be helpful. Combustion Blast, we can use 2 Rainbow Energies and 2 colorless, which will just be our Fairy. And we can hit for 150, which would be 300 against grass types or against metal types. So Charizard is in here for that matchup. Trevenant is in here for 3 matchups primarily. He's in here for the Seismitoad matchup. He's in here for the Primal Groudon matchup. And he's in here for the Primal Kyogre matchup. Now, Wood Blast does... Well, first of all, let's look at Dark Forest. Dark Forest for 1 grass, which again would be a Rainbow Energy, hits for 20, and then the defending Pokemon can't retreat. So that can be useful in its own right. But what we're really using him for is Wood Blast. If we even only have just 3 Fairy energies, we don't even have a Rainbow energy, we can hit for 50, and then times 2 is 100. So Seismitoad would be a 2-hit knockout, and Primal Kyogre and Primal Groudon still a 3-hit knockout. But if you add 1 Rainbow energy, well, actually, we can add Muscle Band first of all, which would make it 70. So now we're at 140. We add one Rainbow Energy, so now it's a Grass type, so it does 20 more damage. So now we're at 70. Plus the 20 for the Muscle Band is 90. 90 times 2 is 180, which knocks out Toad. If we add another Rainbow Energy, we're now at 90 plus 20 is 110. So we're hitting for 220. We still can't knock out Primal Kyogre or Primal Groudon, but we can two-shot them. And if we really want to live dangerously and we can play 3 Rainbow Energies plus a Muscle Band, we can one-shot Primal Kyogre and Primal Groudon. So Trevenant EX is in there for those matchups. We play one Manectric EX, and I've even thought about playing a couple just because he helps with a lot of different matchups. He helps with the Mega Rayquaza colorless matchup, and he also helps us with the Eviltal EX matchup. So these ones that are weak to electric types, that's what Manectric's in here for. And we use mostly Assault Laser. It does 60 times 2 would be 120, but like for instance, Mega Rayquaza is most likely going to have a Spirit Link. So you're going to hit 60 plus another 60 is 120 times 2 is 240, which knocks out Mega Rayquaza with just again a Rainbow Energy and a Fairy Energy. We played Jirachi. We used Stellar Guidance to grab a supporter, but guess what? He's actually in here to also help against the Fairy matchup. We can use Hypno Strike, add a Muscle Band onto him. 60 plus 20 is 80, times 2 is 160, which will knock out Florges EX, and it'll put a big chunk into Mega Gardevoir. So Hypno Strike, we can actually use him for just a Rainbow Energy and a double colorless, or a Rainbow and 2 Fairy Energies. So even Jirachi can even see some action in this deck, though he's mostly used for Stellar Guidance. We play Mew EX to help us with the Psychic. Now he's weak to Psychic, so you could have a war here. You could also replace this with Sigilyph or Mewtwo. Either of those would make a good one, but Mew EX allows you to copy any of the other attacks of your opponent or your bench, and with Rainbow Energy you're going to be able to have whatever type you need. So with the versatile ability, he can do whatever he needs to knock out another Psychic. So we put him in here for that reason. Seismitoad EX helps us with the fire matchups, but also he's one of our main starters. We kind of want to start with him just so that we can item lock our opponent while we get set up. So Quaking Punch does 30 item locks, and that's just a double colorless. And we do play 3 double colorless in this deck. So Quaking Punch can be useful, and then we can also Grenade Hammer if we need to, if we're taking on maybe a Mega Charizard or a Camerupt EX deck. So he's there for the fire matchup. And then we have Suicune. Again, you could use Sigilyph, or you could use basically those are the main two, but they help out with the they're the safeguarders. They're a safeguard, so you put him up, and if they're only playing EXs, they're going to have to play around Suicune. And Suicune, again, can hit for weakness against fire types. So Suicune could just be one of those walls that you need to help you, again, save up some turns as you while you're setting up. All right, so that's our line of Pokemon. So let's move right into our trainers. We play one computer search just for consistency. Because we have Fairy Transfer, it makes sense to use Max Potion. So Max Potion, we move the energies off, and then we heal all the damage to our Pokemon. So Max Potion's great. We have Sacred Ash because Lysander's trump card's gone, and we need some way to get our Pokemon back in. So this allows us to get back something that we may have lost also. You could also play a Revive if you wanted to. Also, we've got Ultra Balls, so we play 3 of those to get the exact Pokemon we need. We play 4 VS Seekers, and that's about all the item cards we play. We don't play a lot of item cards. Let's move right into our supporter line. We do play 2 muscle bands, and again, those help add damage where we need them to hit for weakness. And if this deck plays right, you can either win very quickly. But the other thing that's good about this deck is if you have to go into a long match, this deck can stall your opponent quite well also. Alright, so we play 1 AZ. If we have a Pokemon that's really, really damaged, we can Fairy Transfer the energies off, then AZ, and that will allow us to save that Pokemon, put someone else up, and then transfer the energies that way. We play 2 Colress because we are playing Skyfield. So Colress helps us because we want to be able to have as many of these different types of Pokemon on the bench as we can. So Colress allows us to get more draw more cards that way. We play 1 Lysander, and I really would like to bump this to 2, but this deck is just so packed. But we do play the 4 VS Seeker, so we can get him back if we need it. So Lysander just wins games. We play 1 in. We play 2 Pokemon Fan Club, which, getting the exact Pokemon we need to hit for weakness is important. So Fan Club helps us with that. Play 4 Sycamore, that's just standard. 1 Xerosic to knock off a tool card, especially if we run into Garbodor. We want to be able to knock off the tool card so that we can use our Fairy Transfer, at least for a turn. So that can be a big help. And then with the VS Seekers, we can get him back if we need to do it multiple times. Like I mentioned before, we play 3 Skyfield. And then as far as the energies go, we play 3 DCE. Now primarily this will be used in Seismitoad or to help with someone who has a double colorless attack. Eviltal could be used. This can be useful for. And Shaman can even use it if we need to use Sky Return. So those are the main ones for that. The 4 Rainbow Energy, we max out on this. If we could play more, it would be greater, even better. But we can't, so we have to use these wisely. We don't want to lose these because we can't get them back. So it's very important that we play very carefully with our Rainbow Energies. And then we play 5 Fairy Energies, and this helps out with the colorless requirements in our attacks. And again, it can be transferred around, so it can be useful. Anyway, guys, so that's the deck profile. Keep an eye out for the video that I have coming on the contest that we'll be running. Anyway, this is PokeDad. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, put in the comments what you like most about this deck and which one of the Pokemon is your favorite from this deck. Anyway, we'll talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye.